Much, y'all. It's Black History Month, February the 1st, 2022. Going to try something different this month. The show is called Rewind to Black. I've been wanting to do this for a while. We're going to do this every day for 28 days. If it's the shortest day of the month, but we're going to take advantage of February. We're going to start this month, but it's something I'm wanting to do. And I'm having some of these shows recorded, and some of them are going to be pre-recorded because I want to share with you the Black history that we have researched over several years. What we're going to be reading from every morning is from our publication, No Covers, Can't Stop, Won't Stop. This is volume 1. That is volume 2. It's 2 volumes set. It's 365 days of Black history. So today, we'll be real quick every morning. Not going to get loud and frantic as I usually do. February 1st, we're going to go to February 1st. This is something you can do at home with your children. You take the book out. You can get it from No Covers, or you can go to Amazon and get it. And I'll let you know that at the end of the show. Langston Hughes is on February 1 because Langston Hughes' birthday was today. February 1st, 1902 is the birthday of Black. So today we celebrate Langston Hughes' birthday. And every day in our journey, we're going to celebrate someone else's birthday that's important in our history as Black people here in America and throughout the world, because we are now sharing this throughout the world. Langston Hughes was born on this date in 1902. He was a great American writer. He was influential in the Harlem Renaissance. And the Harlem Renaissance was where everything was bubbling in Harlem. Jazz, poetry, literature, and it had this big push of African culture. And in the 1920s, Langston Hughes was one of those important figures because he was doing poems mixed with a little jazz, a little flavor to it, had a little vibe to it. And he was one of the best poets I grew up reading later on. He was born in Joplin, Missouri, educated at Lincoln University in Pennsylvania, and he published his first poem, The Negro Speaks of Rivers, and he published this in the Crisis magazine. And why that was important, the Crisis magazine was one of the biggest Black published places that you want to be if you wanted to be a Black writer. You wanted to write in the Crisis magazine. You wanted to write for them. It was one of the biggest magazines at the time. And he wrote that while he was studying at Columbia University. He spent time in Paris, overseas, and after returning to the United States, he worked as the busboy in Washington, D.C. Now, you all these writers out there, you all that want to be artists, you worked as the busboy because he believed that much in his craft. He wanted to get his craft off the ground. And it was in his busboy where he discovered this. When working as a busboy, he discovered he was able to see Black American life from a different lens of perspective. He started writing about that. He was active in social political causes, using his poetry as a vehicle for social protest. If you read Langston Hughes, anybody that's a friend of Langston Hughes, you're going to hear social protests in his delivery. He traveled to the Soviet Union, Haiti, Japan, and was a Madrid correspondent for Baltimore and Maryland newspapers during the Spanish Civil War. Langston Hughes wrote over 50 books. 50 books. I'm just writing 4 or 5. He wrote over 50 books. And one of his best characters that he became known of was my man, Jesse B. Simple. I want to share Jesse B. Simple with you in a brief moment I got with you this morning, because Jesse B. Simple was the one that started me writing. I used to read Langston Hughes, but when he came up with this cat named Jesse B. Simple, oh man. And one of his favorite poems I always like is I'm gonna share with you this morning on Langston Hughes, because this is the birthday of Langston Hughes. Is The Feet Have Lived a Life of Their Own, one of his classics. And I think I got a recording of it here, read by Ossie Davis, because you don't want it if it's not read by Ossie Davis. I'm gonna show you how the Black history is something. You want the one read by Ossie Davis. Don't get a Jesse, even the one read by Langston Hughes. It's not like the one read by Ossie Davis. And you all that know Simple know what I'm talking about. Langston Hughes wrote several general literary genres, including poetry. He wrote plays, he wrote short stories, he wrote novels. He's best known for his poetry. Because in his poetry, like I said, he used jazz and Black folk rhythm, and you can feel it as you read in his poetry. So today's birthday is Langston Hughes. As I said, every morning when we come to you, we're going to be once again. This is an ad infomercial as well. This book, No Covers Can't Stop Won't Cop. This is volume 1. This takes you through January to June, and volume 2 takes you through July to December. 365 days. Some of it's history, you know. Some of it's history you never thought of. And when I'm telling you, when I came up with this and some of the stuff I read and researched in this book, wow, we have a legacy that I need to share with not just us, but worldwide. So you all in the world this morning, I want you to take a step back in time. We call it Rewind to Black. Rewind to Black. And I want you to check out my man, just to be simple, Langston Hughes, y'all.
If you want to know about my life, said simple as he blew the foam from the top of a newly filled glass the bartender put before him. Don't look at my face. Don't look at my hands. Look at my feet. See if you can tell how long I've been standing on them. I cannot see your feet through your shoes, I said. You do not need to see through my shoes, said Simple. Can't you tell by the shoes I wear? Not pointed, not rocking chair, not French toes, not nothing but big, long, broad, and flat, that I've been standing on these feet a long time and carrying some heavy burdens? They ain't flat from standing at no bar, neither, because I always sit at a bar. Can't you tell that? You know I do not hang out in a bar unless it has stools, now don't you? That I have observed, I said, but I did not connect it with your past life. But everything I do is connected up with my past life. From Virginia to George, from my wife to Zarita, from my mother's milk to this glass of beer, everything is connected up. I trust you will connect up with that dollar I just loaned you when you get paid, I said. And who is Virginia? You never told me about her. Virginia is where I was born, said Simple. I would be born in a state named after a woman. From that day on, women never give me no peace. You, I fear, are boasting. If women were running after you as much as you run after them, you would not be able to sit here on this bar stool in peace. I don't see any women coming to call you out to go home, as some of these fellows' wives do around here. George better not come in no bar looking for me, said Simple. That is why me and my wife busted up. One reason. I do not like to be called out of no bar by a female. It's a man's prerogative to just sit and drink sometimes. How do you connect that prerogative with your past? I asked. When I was a wee small child, said Simple, I had no place to sit and think in. Being as how I was raised up with 3 brothers, 2 sisters, 7 cousins, 1 married on, a common law uncle, and the minister's grandchild, and the house only had 4 rooms. I never had no place just to sit and think, neither to sit and drink, not even much of my milk before some hungry child snatched it out of my hand. I was not the youngest, neither a girl, nor the cutest. I don't know why, but I don't think nobody liked me much, which is why I was afraid to like anybody for a long time myself. When I did like somebody, I was full grown, and then I picked out the wrong woman because I had no practice in liking anybody before that. We did not get along. Is that when you took to drink? Or drink took to me, said Simple. Whiskey just naturally likes me, but Bill likes me better. By the time I got married, I had got to the point where a cold bottle was almost as good as a warm bed, especially when the bottle could not talk and the bed warmer could. I do not like a woman to talk to me too much. I mean about me, which is why I like Joyce. Joyce most generally talks about herself. I'm still looking at your feet, I said, and I swear they do not reveal your life to me. Your feet are no open book. You have eyes, but you see not, said Simple. These feet have stood on every rock from the Rock of Ages to 135th and Lemon. These feet have supported everything from a cotton bale to a hungry woman. These feet have walked 10,000 miles working for white folks and another 10,000 keeping up with color. These feet have stood at altars, craft tables, free lunches, bars, graves, kitchen doors, bed windows, hospital clinics, WPA desks, Social Security railings, and in all kinds of lines from soup lines to the draft. If I just had 4 feet, I could have stood in more places longer. As it is, I done wore out 700 pair of shoes, 8 or 9 tennis shoes, 12 summer sandals, and also 6 loafers. The socks that these feet have bought could build a knitting mill. The cones I've cut away would dull a German razor. The bunions I forgot would make you ache from now till Judgment Day. If anybody was to write the history of my life, they should start with my feet. Your feet are not all that extraordinary, I said. Besides, everything you are saying is general. Tell me specifically some one thing your feet have done that makes them different from any other feet in the world. Just one. You see that window in that white man's store across the street? That's simple. Well, this right foot of mine broke out that window in the Harlem riots right smack in the middle. Did no other foot in the world break that window but mine. And this left foot carried me off running as soon as my right foot come down. Nobody else's feet saved me from the cops that night but these 2 feet right here. Don't tell me these feet ain't had a life of their own. For shame, I said. Going around kicking out windows. Why? Why? Said Simple. You have to ask my great-great-grandpa why. He must have been simple. That's why they let them capture him in Africa and sell him for a slave to breed my great-grandpa and slavery to breed my grandpa and slavery to breed my pa to breed me to look at that window and say, it ain't mine. Bam! And pick it up. This bar glass is not yours either, I said. Why don't you smash it? It's got my beer in it, said Simple. Just then, Zarita came in wearing her Thursday night rabbitskin coat. She didn't stop at the bar, being dressed up, but went straight back to her booth. Simple's hand went up, his beer went down, and the glass back to a wet spot on the bar. Excuse me a minute, he said, sliding off the stool. Just to give him pause, the dozens, that old verbal game of maligning a friend's female relatives came to mind. Wait, I said, you have told me about what to ask your great-great-grandpa, but I want to know what to ask your great-great-grandma. I don't play the dozens that far back, said Simple, following Zarita into the smoky jukebox blue of the back room.
This has been Harper Audio.
Yes. Langston Hughes, February the 1st, 1902 was his birthday. This is Rewind to Black. Rewind to Black. I'll see y'all tomorrow morning.